Good morning. I'm here with Scott Hamblin, candidate for Overland Park City Council, Ward 6. On behalf of the Johnson County Public Policy Council, thank you, Scott, for being here today.
You're welcome.
The Johnson County Public Policy Council is made up of 10 chambers of commerce in Johnson County. Our goal is to provide information about public policy issues impacting area businesses. Scott, are you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
In regard to economic development, it has been argued that incentives aren't necessary because development will occur naturally without them being offered. What is your opinion?
Well, I think development will occur naturally depending on economic conditions. I think there are times when tax incentives are appropriate. What I don't necessarily believe is that it's the use of force to constantly push Overland Park forward is always the answer. I think one of the things you're going to hear a lot in this campaign is that tax incentives do not affect the general fund. I think that's simply not true, especially in the long run. I think today's unsustained project is tomorrow's blight, and there's no one to clean up the mess other than the taxpayers. I think there's three things we know about tax incentives. One, I think it fills the pockets of the lobbyists that receive them. I think it has the possibility of creating blight in other areas of the city where businesses can't compete because they weren't offered the same special treatment. And I think the overuse of them definitely threatens the future of Overland Park and the residents.
What is your opinion on what is commonly referred to as dark store theory? And what do you think Overland Park should be doing today, if anything, to prepare for rulings that favor the plaintiffs?
Well, I personally think the dark store theory is more of a reality than just a theory, and it definitely poses a threat to the future of Overland Park. Our own city manager has called it catastrophic. We don't know exactly how it's going to come down, but we do know that it is going to come down, and we know our current leadership has not taken any action to prepare. As for preparing, I really believe there's only one action to take, and that's to calculate our liability and begin to budget and plan for it. Absent that, there's nothing we can expect except extreme and immediate property taxes increases when it does arise.
Housing affordability is addressed in Forward OP, and it's a topic of considerable discussion among employers. What do you think the city of Overland Park should be doing to address this problem?
Well, I think affordable housing issue is a worthy cause. I also think it brings a lot of significant challenges. As a candidate of Ward 6, I have learned that it seems to be a bit of a different animal. Would I propose building apartment complexes next to estate homes in the southern portion of the ward? Absolutely not. I think housing prices can be a reflection of a healthy economy. I know people put a lot of wealth into their homes, and I would not propose any government action that would negatively affect the wealth of our residents. Does that mean there's nothing we can do? No, absolutely not. I think it needs to be a well thought out, well executed plan, and can't simply just be a knee-jerk reaction that puts the taxpayer responsible for providing the basic needs that the employers are not.
In the short term, it appears we can keep our mill levy unchanged to meet current budget obligations. However, sluggish sales tax collections and increased demands on infrastructure from growth could necessitate a change. What are your thoughts on our current budget and the outlook for the future?
Well, when it comes to mill levy, I think we're going to hear a lot more about that in the campaign also. Overland Park has the lowest mill levy in Johnson County. That's fantastic. I applaud that. However, the one thing you have to understand about the mill levy is it's artificial. We're currently outspending our revenues, so that's a mill levy that is not sustainable without a change in spending. The only conversation coming out of City Council right now is to take a increase of mill levy vote to the public. So we know where they're headed with it. Fortunately, I think there are options we can take with the budget that if we want to keep the mill levy remotely unchanged, we can do that. But those discussions need to happen now, and those actions need to happen now.
The governors of Kansas and Missouri have recently forged a truce in the so-called economic border war. Do you support their actions, and what impact do you believe their agreement will have on Overland Park?
Well, it's early, so I think we'll see. I think on the surface it sounds like a good idea. I think it provides Overland Park an excellent opportunity, as I believe in the city, the schools, and the people as an excellent way to attract and retain business. The Hall Family Foundation released a study saying that it's cost Metro taxpayers $330 million to shuffle companies back and forth across the border, essentially without creating any jobs. Quentin Lucas said this gives us a new sandbox to play in, meaning that it allows us to focus on companies outside the area that will actually bring real jobs to the area. I think it's what it comes down to is having the right leaders that will address the current hurdles we face, and then I think it's possible that we can keep Overland Park as the most desirable place in the metro and the most attractive for local business.
Well, Scott, as we wrap up, tell us why you're seeking public office. What do you believe most distinguishes you from your opponent in the race, making you best suited to serve?
Well, I think what distinguishes me the most is that I don't carry 18 years of baggage that comes from lobbyist and influence of being a career politician and being in one office for too long. I bring a fresh perspective. I'm 100% free of any influence. I'm not beholden to any politician, and I'm simply doing this for the residents and the future of Overland Park. That's something I hope the voters can see. I hope they get out November 5th, and that's the best I can ask for.
Well, we thank you for spending time with us this morning, and we wish you the best of luck with the election.
Well, thanks for having me.